Waste is a symptom of a failed relationship. We have so much stories of emotional durability, of things that have little to no economic value, but they have so much emotional value, we keep them close to our heart.
My name is Patrick Hypscher, and this is Circularity FM, the podcast about understanding, building, and managing circular business models.
Welcome to the key talks of CIRCULAZE Summit 2024. CIRCULAZE is a leading circular economy network driving innovation and collaboration across industries. Before we start, I have an offer for you. If you're looking for an actionable one-pager of the following talk, sign up for the newsletter at www.circularity.fm. Let's start with the speaker presentation provided by the moderator Laurent Frédéric Lohmann from 4P Capital.
Next up, we have Serena Bonomi. She is a freelance circular economy strategy and innovation specialist. Previously, Serena led the development of circular design criteria and behavioral research at Zalando. She launched also the first cradle-to-cradle gold-certified jacket at VF Corp. And when I spoke with her not backstage, but very far front of the stage over there, she told me that she was going to be the next head of circularity at On. Now, who knows what On is? You've just outed yourself as venture capital investors. And with that, everybody, please put your hands together for Serena. Hi.
It's always tricky with mic and clicker. I feel like I always get confused. I click the mic and use the clicker to speak. Lovely to be here, and I'm really happy to be talking a little bit about the human factor, especially in circular fashion. I have mainly a circular fashion expertise, but I do believe a lot of what I'm going to be talking about is going to pretty much be applicable to all the other industries as well. And having worked in the circular space for nearly a decade, I have to say, I feel like we don't speak enough about humans in this space. We talk a lot about efficiency, materials, carbon offsetting. How about people? I feel like we forget about it. So over the time, I've realized there's a couple of barriers, well, more than a couple, but there's a couple of ones that I keep spotting over and over again over the past decade. And the first one is, you might guess it from what I'm going to talk about. Does anybody want to try and shout? What do you think the second one is? Don't be shy. There's no right or wrong. Huh? The second one is people. Yes, exactly. But I feel like it's two different types of people. Very often when we talk about circularity and people, we're like, yeah, the customers are not interested, they don't care, they don't engage, they don't want to spend the money. And yes, they're here. That's very true. But how about people like us who work at companies? We also have a role to play when it comes to advanced circularity, but we also don't act enough around it. I feel like here, specifically people that are here, maybe they act more, but still we have a bunch of people in companies that don't act enough. So let's keep in mind the two main problems and barriers for circularity are people and people. But spoiler, the reason why we got into this mess today, it's also because of people choices. So I feel like we've created this whole linear system that works perfectly to exploit our planet and to exploit people as well, but we also have the potential to change that. So let's look into a little bit more what are the barriers that those people are going into. The first one is the behavioral side of it, right? I feel like this is something that over the years we have more and more research to talk about it, and we can see more and more what type of behavioral issues we have. And specifically, one of the most mentioned one is the attitude-behavioral gap or the intention-action gap. I'm not going to bore you with data and stats and research on this, but I do want you to know one very important thing. There's a piece of research that came out a few weeks ago, actually, from the New Customer research group. And this says that there's a crazy number of people that were interviewed globally, and when they were asked if they were being willing to pay more for sustainable fashion or for sustainable goods specifically, around 40–50% of them said yes. Attitude behavior gap, we actually know not so many people are then purchasing sustainable goods. But the stunning percentage was that when Shein shoppers, right, from this huge, super fast fashion company were asked, actually 70% of them said yes, they would be willing to spend more money for sustainable fashion, which we clearly know this is not happening, hence why and where they're putting their money. But that's not only that. We also know that around 97% of people are saying that they're feeling ready to take action when it comes to living a more sustainable lifestyle. Yet within this 97%, only 13% of them are actually actively changing their behavior, doing something to actually implement sustainable practices in their life. And those percentages keep showing us that there is this huge intention-action gap. And I feel like we don't spend enough time looking into why do we have this intention-action gap. And from working with many companies, what I realized is that circularity has a desirability problem. When we look at the linear system, it's so convenient, it works so well. We spent hundreds of years making it efficient. It's perfect. We are customer-obsessed in the linear system. When it comes to circularity, very often, marketing is not involved in circularity initiatives. There's no customer insights. It's all based on assumption. But then we know people don't behave that way. So we do have a huge desirability problem. And this goes in two ways. This goes in the direction of how can we get customers to engage, but also how do we get the other people, right? The people at the company to engage. Very often, when I work with companies on circularity, I actually find out that the main reason circular pilots fail is because KPIs are disaligned. The sales team, the retail store has KPI that don't give them time to pitch and talk and explain a circular initiative to the customer because their revenue is based on how many products they can push rather than how much time they can spend talking about care and repair pilots in store. So look at the KPIs. That's very often like a black hole for action in circularity. Another example that I can give around this is the demand creation funnel. Now, if there's any marketeers here, we know that through marketing, we can create demand. We know that very often we end up buying products we don't want and we don't need just because they look so appealing. It's so interesting. I mean, Apple revolutionized phones through demand creation. Nobody wanted a phone with no buttons, yet everybody now has it. And I feel like we think about the customer having to go through this funnel, right, from awareness to consideration to eventually action. But I would actually challenge you to look at things the other way around. It's not about taking the customer through something, it's about building something with them. And the building block can look like something like this, right? So you start from the awareness, you do want to trigger a new behavior, you want customers to understand that something needs to change. The second step could be around knowledge. So how can I help customers, and this is not only customer, this is also internal people, to gather knowledge and trigger then action from there. But before action, people need to be motivated. What is the convenience? What is the desirability that triggers that action? The great thing is that after action, there's one more step, which is advocacy. This is the most powerful step you want to bring your people in, whether if they're customer or people at the company, because this can actually help for action to be repeated over time, for them to become an ambassador of the topic. And there's one last thing that I do want to leave you with, because the 7 minutes are never enough. Waste is a symptom of a failed relationship. We have so much stories of emotional durability, of things that have little to no economic value, but they have so much emotional value, we keep them close to our heart. So how can we look into circularity? How can we add this relationship aspect to it, this human factor to it, in order to build products that people want to keep, products that people cherish and that they want to engage with? With that, I will leave you also with a LinkedIn QR code if you want to scan and connect with me, and I hope to also talk to you later.
Thank you, Serena. Yeah, I'll take that. You'll still keep that. Thank you so much. Right, Serena, I've got 2 questions for you. First, yeah. 2.
Oh, wow.
First one, where did you get your shoes? Because I actually like them quite a lot. Just quickly, if you show your heel.
Zalando pre-owned.
There you go.
Second hand.
Second hand, even better. On a more serious note, you're an expert in this field, especially in the fashion industry. for everybody else's inspiration and mine, of course, can you share a success story of a brand that really nailed, not all of it, but maybe parts of the implementation of a circular business model?
Can I or can I not? I feel like it's very difficult to answer this question. I keep getting asked the question of like, what are the case studies? For me, it's impossible because I always say brands, like you start from your products, you start from your materials very often, and then you claim you've developed a circular product. But spoiler, there's no circular product in a linear brand. And then maybe you work more on the brand and you feel like you've also launched some circularity rental or other types of initiatives. But I'm also telling them, like, you cannot be a circular brand if you're in a linear system. The industry is still linear. So it's so difficult to answer this question, and I will not answer it better than this, because we do need the collaboration to be systemic, not just brand-specific. So there's a lot of brands that are doing interesting initiatives on products and business models, for sure. Anybody has cracked the right ingredients to create the perfect circularity recipe? No, because they're missing the system to work with them. So this is a bit the encouragement. I feel like it shouldn't demotivate people, it should rather motivate people. That's why we're all here today, to be also talking about this type of things.
It's a huge opportunity. Thank you.
Definitely.
Thank you.
This was 1 out of 8 episodes from CIRCULAZE Summit 2024 in Munich, Germany. If you want to get the actionable one-pager from this talk, sign up to the Circularity FM newsletter. You can find it at www.circularity.fm. Let's drive a profitable circular economy. And please don't forget, the most abundant renewable resource is your imagination.
Thank you.
My name is Patrick Hypscher, and this is Circularity FM, the podcast about understanding, building, and managing circular business models.